Go ahead and get started here momentarily. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Committee of the Whole meeting on this beautiful December day. Welcome to December. So we have a number of action items today, but before we get to those, we have a brief presentation from our Grand Rapids Sister Cities International Group. So I'm going to turn this over to our city manager, and he can tee this up for us this morning.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. We're pleased to have today Leonardo Tombelli, who is President of Grand Rapids Sister Cities International, and he is going to share some highlights from their annual report. And I had the privilege, along with the mayor, to accompany some members from Sister Cities in the Chamber to an international trip in Mexico. And what we've discovered is that there are many opportunities for us to expand our emphasis on our sister city relationships beyond just cultural exchange, but to be very deliberate around economic development. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Tombelli to come and provide an update. Thank you for being here.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning to all. Thank you. So yes, my name is Leonardo Tombelli, and I am president of the Grand Rapids Sister Cities. I'm really pleased to come before you this morning per our bylaws to submit our annual report that ended in July of 2019. This report was sent to all of you via email recently. As you know, Grand Rapids does have 5 sister cities. As the city manager was mentioning, our most recent is Zapopan, Mexico, that joined our sister city group. But we have also our oldest sister city, Omihachipan, Japan, Bielsko-Biała, Poland, Perugia, Italy, God District in Ghana. And we have also other discussions about new sister cities that are ongoing. Another sister city in Asia, and we've also want to consider the North American area, which is opportunities for sister cities that could be actually closer to Grand Rapids. So we are constantly thinking about that. Our mission is to promote Grand Rapids as a welcoming city, and we do that by building relationships. We do that by building relationships with Grand Rapids and our sister cities by promoting understanding and mutual respect through exchanges in culture, art, education, community, and economic development. One of our most recent board initiatives is to expand its outreach to local small businesses and our sister cities. To this end, the board has voted to join the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce just recently this quarter. So we hope to engage with its membership to expand opportunities to connect with Grand Rapids sister cities, and also to promote the small business activities within those businesses in Grand Rapids. We also hope to improve our relationship with the city of Grand Rapids. We had the opportunity to meet with Mark Washington just recently and talk about some of our achievements and our goals for 2020. We hope to continue to meet with you annually, but we also hope to take advantage of improved relationships with the city administration and meet more often, perhaps even quarterly. And so to that end, please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns that you might have about our program, and we hope to look forward to 2020 and to that end.
Great. All right. Thank you.
If you have any questions today or comments, please feel free.
Great. Well, I'll just make a couple comments, and I don't know if Commissioner Moody wants to. I know he is very active with the GA District Committee, but I can say I've learned a lot about the relationships that have been built through sister cities. And one that I'm really impressed with is what the different committees learn from one another. So in Perugia, we have a number of relationships with our sister city of Perugia, and there's an exchange between elementary students at an elementary school in Perugia and an elementary school here in Grand Rapids, and they are pen pals, and they write back and forth every year.
Yes.
And they have displays of Perugia and Grand Rapids and vice versa, and so they've developed these really sweet relationships at a young age. And the Committee for Zapopan heard about that, and they are now in the process of identifying a classroom at a GRPS school here to be pen pals with a classroom at an elementary school in Zapopan. So even among the committees, they're learning from each other and finding ways to connect in multiple different ways, from cultural to education to economic development. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to better connect with our sister cities. And I know Commissioner Moody, you're active with the GA District. Do you want to add anything about your experience?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. This is the city's program is one of the most important programs in the city of Grand Rapids for this particular body, for example. In 2004, I visited Ghana, Africa, with Mayor Hartwell and Susan and my wife and a number of the delegations. And we had a tremendous time. One of the biggest things that we did in that area was we supplied medical supplies to their local small healthcare programs. We promoted schools, and we did a radio program. We did a radio station, which was very important. Mary Ann Edmond was one of the leading members, as you know, of that particular program. And we've been to Ghana several times, from 2004 up to, I think the last time we visited was around 2007, 2008. I think the relationship with this program, with all the other programs, is so important, and it's very worthwhile that we all get engaged and be a part of what's taking place. However, I don't know if you know that Mayor Hartwell was made a king in one of the God district areas. If he's listening, I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about it.
Do they make queens too, or?
Yes, they do. Well, Mary Edmond was made a queen mother, and he was made king. There are some pictures out there somewhere. I don't know if you have any of them or not, but there.
Yes,
you do got some. You should show them sitting on his throne. But it was very instrumental because we did a lot of work in the God District area. We did a lot of promotion. We did water, we did food, we did everything we possibly can for that growth. And we constantly have delegations coming to Grand Rapids, and then most of them sometimes are accompanied in my home, which I think is very important because it allowed us to get an opportunity to know those individuals. But overall, this is the city program we have in Grand Rapids is dynamic.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the work. However, we did lose one of our good friends, Benjamin Mpanza, who was over the God District when Mary stepped down, and he and Laura, both my wife, tried to carry it to the next level. Benjamin's death was a great loss to us, and we're still trying to recover from that.
Yes.
But you got me, so I'm going
thank
to
you.
do everything in my power to push, and my wife will do everything in her power to continue to make things happen.
Thank you.
And please continue to let us know opportunities when we do have delegations visiting. I know many of you have joined me for ceremonies. I know the group that was visiting last year from Poland, we walked in the Pulaski Day Parade together. So there's a lot of opportunities to build those relationships when we do have delegations here in Grand Rapids. So, City Manager, do you want to close with anything?
I just want to reemphasize it from my recent visit, the tremendous potential for economic development. As I was surprised to hear what they thought of Grand Rapids, where so many people locally think of us as Furniture City, Beer City, River City. Well, the interest internationally was medical city. It was on our medical mall and research. And what they wanted to do was replicate the success that we've had, as well as begin a startup culture and to expand. We met with several businesses in their chamber that was interested in not only replicating that in Zapopan, but also having expansions here in the United States, particularly the Midwest. And we were able to offer our community over others that they were considering in Indiana and on the east side of the state in Chicago. And so I think there's tremendous opportunity for future economic development through our Sister Cities program.
So, Leonardo, will we be going back to Ghana?
Yes, I think that each committee manages to structure a exchange periodically. Sometimes it's every few years.
So, Madam Mayor is looking at being queen
Oh,
of something, so.
I'm
I
sure
gotta
we
learn
can
more about that. I don't know if I meet the requirements. We'll have to see. Well, thank you so much. And I
Thank
know
you.
there have been a number of trips I've been invited on, and I just couldn't make it work. I'm happy that I've been able to go on a couple, but please do let us know about those opportunities when they come up.
Thank you,
So,
I will.
thank you.
And we have refreshed our website, so I encourage everyone to check into our updates that we post periodically.
Great.
So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. All right, Commissioners, next that will take us to our first action item, and this is a resolution scheduling a special meeting of the City Commission to affirm the oath of office for recently elected city officials and library commissioners.
So moved.
Or,
All right, and just a reminder, Commissioners, that'll be here in these chambers at 6 p.m. on December 17th. So we will have the oath of office. Hopefully it'll break somewhere around 6:40, and then there'll be a little refreshment and reception in the hall, and then we'll come back for our 7 p.m. meeting as a full body, and it'll be our last meeting of the year. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next is a resolution approving a request for me to travel to DC in January. Commissioners, this is for the Winter U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting. That is on Wednesday, Thursday, and the morning of Friday, and then also for the Mayor's Innovation Project, which is that Friday and Saturday morning. And so I intend to fly out actually Tuesday night and then return on Saturday afternoon. So can I get a motion?
support.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next is a resolution approving the request from Gita Pita for, that rhymes, for a new Class C redevelopment liquor license to be located at 2 Jefferson Avenue Southeast. Can I get a motion?
Support.
All right. City Clerk, you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, so Gita Pita, located at 2 Jefferson Southeast, has submitted their application. It's been reviewed by all the appropriate departments, and they're approved to go forward.
Great. All right, Commissioners, any questions or comments?
Yes,
All
I
right.
have one.
Oh, go ahead.
I never heard of 2 Jefferson. Where is that located at? I know you got Southeast, but I have not seen 2 Jefferson.
Oh, yep, it's the new building, Fulton and Jefferson. It's the building that Carl Chu built that has residents on the top,
And the address is 2?
right? Oh, there is that's right, I'm sorry. It's down from One Trick Pony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across from
Thank you.
Park Church.
Maybe we should have a map attached next time. All right, any other questions, Commissioner?
Just a side comment that as I was reading through this and as we read through other Class A, B, or C licenses having to do with alcohol, I hope that all of our providers of alcohol are cognizant of the fact that the census matters in this case, because the number of licenses are dependent on the number of people counted. So I hope that they will help us in the census count.
I was wondering where you were going with that, but yes, yes, indeed. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next is a resolution approving the request from Shaffer Cider LLC for a new off-premise tasting license to be located at 311 Fuller Avenue Northeast,
So moved.
Suite B. All right.
Same issue. they've gone through all their vetting through all the proper departments to get to this place.
All right, be located there on Fuller Avenue. Any questions or comments, commissioners? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, commissioners, that will take us to our last item before us. I should remind you that as soon as we are done with this item, I will call for executive session. We have a number of items actually for executive session today, so we have a full agenda in executive session, and then we also have our performance review for our city treasurer today at 2. So I'll call for that after this item. So next we have a resolution adopting the Southtown Business Area Specific Plan as an amendment to the 2002 Grand Rapids Master Plan. Can I get a motion?
Support.
All right, and Ms. Turkelson is here to talk to us about this. We've had this before us multiple times, and I know we've all had an opportunity to read it and to get public comment.
Good. So good morning, Commissioners. Today is a very important day, and on behalf of the Planning Commission, I am pleased to present the final draft of the Southtown Business Area Specific Plan. The plan was developed collaboratively with the Southtown Corridor Improvement Authority and their steering committee and the assistance of their consultant from Smith Group, Oliver Kiley, and the excellent leadership of the Planning Department Project Manager, Leila Islani. This is the culmination of 2 years' worth of work. We've had a couple of drafts and countless community engagement touch points. The business districts that are represented by this plan already have some significant assets and opportunities with them, and today with your support, they will have a shared vision that will help guide some thoughtful and intentional future growth and development. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Leila Islani and Oliver Kiley. Thank you.
Hi, welcome.
Hello, good morning. So, as you said, Mayor Bliss, we've been before you previously. Last time was September 24th when you approved releasing this plan for the public comment period. That was a 42-day period, and during that time we also had another public meeting. We had 2 different sessions on October 29th, and Oliver will tell you a little bit more about those to unveil the plan and get final feedback from the community. We went back to the Planning Commission for a public hearing on November 14th, and comments received at that were also favorable, and now we're here before you today for adoption. So with that, I'll turn it over to Oliver for some more details.
Great.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us back. So as Kristen and Leila had mentioned, we're back here after our 42-day review period asking City Commission to approve final approval for the Southtown Business Area Specific Plan. Just wanted to add a couple of quick notes on the process. So we were here back in September 24th, as Leila mentioned. October 29th, we held 2 public open house sessions, one during the middle part of the day, one in the evening. Had about 50 attendees between those 2 meetings. We actually had some of the most exciting discussion and discourse throughout the process. So I think the community was really excited to see the final plan come together, have a chance to provide some input on it as it got wrapped up. I will mention, most of the questions that we got during the review period were really around the scope of the business area specific plan. So what kind of strategies were in it? We got questions like, well, does the plan address schools or parks in the neighborhood? And no, we kind of had to explain that it's really focused around the business corridors and how we can make those business corridors strong and successful. But it was a chance to really kind of reaffirm and explain, what the different strategies were in the plan around wealth building, around equity, about how to deal with development without displacement, which is one of the kind of key ideas in the planning process itself. As far as some final tweaks and adjustments to the plan itself goes, since the last draft that you all had a chance to look at, 2 kind of technical changes to the report. One is that since the prior draft was assembled, the bicycle plan and some of the vital streets network plans have been updated and approved by City Commission. So we took those latest and greatest maps from the vital streets and from the bike plan and incorporated those back into the plan, kind of in the context and background information section, so that the potential improvements for bike lanes or transit use is all in alignment with the Southtown plan. There was also a minor zoning adjustment. There was an area, a parcel in the Boston Square area that we had previously identified as industrial flex, which, if you recall, was a future land use type that kind of reworked the industrial special district area to be more flexible in terms of the kinds of uses that were there. And a parcel was identified as industrial flex, but it should have been identified as part of the TBA transition because it's in the TBA zone today. So that was just a planned correction in some of the future land use maps. So just overall, to kind of close out, there's really three big things that this plan does. The first, from a land use perspective and future land use perspective, is really, again, around increasing the flexibility of uses along the commercial corridors, particularly for business and commercial activity. But it does create greater flexibility in some areas for more residential uses. It helps guide infrastructure and capital investment, so things like street improvements, street lighting, public safety kinds of physical improvements. It helps identify where those should be prioritized and located, and that will be an opportunity for the SID board to work with partners and with the city to make those improvements happen. And then lastly, it outlines a broad range of strategies around wealth building, equity, addressing gentrification and displacement concerns, and to help give the community tools to sort of make, to help work with the development community and work with others as change happens so that there's positive benefits back to the community. So with all of that, we just, as part of our process, we wanted to thank the Business Area Specific Plan Steering Committee, the SID Board, Planning Commission for hearing this process throughout, and of course, City Commission for your support for making this plan happen and getting it into motion. So with that, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, we can answer those.
Great, thanks. Commissioners, any questions or comments? I feel like we've had. Commissioner?
Thanks, Oliver and Layla and Kristen for the presentation. I'd just like to thank our co-chair and the members of the steering committee, Alex Thomas, our co-chair of the steering committee, and members who have been coming and sharing and supporting and making sure that this work has been done well. I think the biggest comment that I'd like to make is just, we embarked on something that was different because the goal was to create a plan for the business districts within Southtown, which was unique. And so I think that's part of why the process took so long, is because explaining to people this wasn't a neighborhood plan as much as it was a business plan. And what we heard consistently is that business districts want to be as walkable, as vibrant as downtown in neighborhoods. And so this plan speaks to that and speaks to the direction that all of the business districts within Southtown can take in order to make that happen. And so I'm looking forward to reaping the benefits of this plan and the work that's gone into it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Others, Commissioner Jones?
Yep, I'll either ask you or maybe even ask my colleagues, my third ward colleagues. Wanted to get some idea of some of the, if there were any tension points at all with the plan, and if so, what were they? Because I know, again, we're talking about an area that is significantly populated by communities of color, and I would think that there are certain aspects of the plan that had robust discussion and debate, and just wanted to get some idea of what some of those tension points were.
All right.
Yeah, I think one of the major tension points was the gentrification. And so just as much as we're seeing gentrification with housing, we've seen that in business districts. And so there was, a very loud voice about not duplicating what happened on this one street in the city in these business districts and how to make sure that we avoid that. I think that was a huge factor. I think the other factor was that there are other needs that weren't necessarily the purpose of this plan that needed addressing. So the housing conversations that we're having now, as well as education that Oliver mentioned too. And I think, what we consistently said is there's work happening with those things in other spaces, but this is a targeted approach to the business districts. And I think the other piece is just making sure that the public is aware of the diversity that exists within the business districts that are within Southtown. and the neighborhoods around those business districts, and how many businesses exist that are vibrant and long-term businesses that have been there for decades, and just finding a way to make sure that we highlight that. And to have, right now we have a directory, so people, if they're interested in this type of an industry, they can go to the website, which I think is live soon, this week, I think, to be able to find a business that meets the need that they have. We're also trying to find ways to help businesses partner with one another. And then we've had a lot of educational programs that have come from this work for the businesses that exist within the district. And then I think the last thing is the need for funding to come to the third ward, more specifically in some of the Southtown business districts, so that they can have resources to do things like facade improvements and things of that nature.
Commissioner Moody, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I attended one of the sessions, and I thought it was very good. The turnout was good. I think that there was a lot of engagement in the area of Southtown, and I concur with Commissioner Lanier that the funds do need to be much more available for businesses. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. I read the plan several different times throughout the weeks. I'm impressed with it, and I think that your work that you've done has been tremendous in terms of helping that particular corridor.
Great, thanks. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? All right, I'll add my thanks. I know everyone around this table appreciates all the work that went into this plan and bringing it forward. We know that it takes a lot of time and energy and a commitment to stay at the table and work through issues that come up, and we really appreciate that. So,
Mayor, can I just thank one more person? Eric DeLong, thank you so much. I glanced up and saw your face, and it just reminded me of, you know, as I was thanking the committee, that you two contributed a lot of time, effort, and energy into making sure that the goals were being met, and that the barriers that existed that we needed moved or removed, that you were there to make sure that that happened. So thank you too for your participation.
yeah, thanks. All right, with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations, thanks.
Congratulations.
All right, so next, commissioners, I'd like to call the question to go into executive session for a number of issues. We have one related to real property, one related to pending litigation, one related to a legal opinion, and then later at 2 p.m., our annual evaluation and review for our city treasurer. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Support?
All right, and this is a voice call, so Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Lanier?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes?
Moody?
Yes.
And Commissioner Park?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. And commissioners will start here in 9:01, so we can go right into 9:01 for the first three items, and then at 2 o'clock we'll be down in room 601.